Okay, so welcome everybody. Um, so my name is Pam, and tonight we're going to be doing something called the African Pondo Stitch. And you all have your instructions, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Good. Okay. It's I won't say it's an intermediate one. If you've had any experience with right angle weave, this will be a piece of cake. But it creates a really nice lacy texture. Let me go to now. If you find this, let me know if the video is sort of lagging and stuff. Let me just take this up a little bit. So there's my bead on it, my bead board. Turn on,
Okay.
let's see, I'll turn
Oh,
on
that's
that light.
beautiful.
Oh,
It
it really
creates
is
a
pretty.
really lacy
Yes.
Hmm.
Oh, look
stitch.
at that.
And you can really play. This one shows up a little bit with the colors. Let me see if I can lighten it a little bit. It doesn't show the colors really well.
The
But this
pattern
one,
is beautiful, though.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. There, you see a little bit more of the color. So the main one is really all this cream, but it's got two sets of right angle weave that fits in between. So there you can change those colors. And you can get
Hmm.
all kinds of stuff in with it. And this is a standard two color. Um,
Right.
but it creates this beautiful sense of netting.
That's my favorite,
Yes, with
that color
that.
there.
Yeah, yeah, it's this sort of a brown AB,
Hmm.
topaz AB, and then it's
Yeah.
got this sort of very frosted, not clear, but frosted um, cream. And
Hmm.
then here's another one I have. I've done it, but I haven't finished off because I that'll be part of tonight. Of the turquoise and sort of bronze.
Oh,
Oh,
And
nice.
this is an early one. And oops, let's bring it down. And you can actually, I haven't done a lot of introducing other beads, but you can introduce other beads in it. And I will be doing more with that. But you on all of them, you see that sort of diamond pattern
yes.
that looks like netting, but it
Hmm.
really isn't. So what we'll
It's
do,
absolutely gorgeous.
it is, and it's not difficult to do. Once you understand the geometry, it's not difficult.
Hmm.
There's various ways of ending them. And so here I've used a standard 3-ring tube clasp. So this comes together like this. And what I've done is that I've added, just put loops of size 11 beads in between. This isn't my favorite way of doing it. Um, what I would probably do is do a smaller set of loops and attach it to the ring clasp using jump rings, but it works.
Ah,
This works. Um,
okay.
this one, what I did was do a row of square stitch and
Hmm.
using the eights, and that fits right inside of here.
I like that.
It's a nice clean edge.
Hmm.
And with the size eights, it works very well. And then I've simply done a magnetic clasp. This one was fun. So on these, yes, I've taken it and squared the ends off, but you don't have to. You can take it down to a point
Mm.
and you can attach
A button.
a button. And this is just an
Yes.
amethyst button that I happen to have. And as you can see, I've just simply attached it to the netting
Okay.
wherever. And
I quite
then,
like that too.
yeah, have done a loop of beads that will go around. Now, my cautionary tale is make sure that you don't make this too tight. I've had to stretch a
Hmm.
little bit. It's a little on the snug side, but it is secure.
Yeah, I don't want it to pop.
No, but um, it works out quite well for it.
Hmm.
So the goal tonight will be to get something started. It does take a while. It uses a fair bit of thread and beads. So we
Okay.
won't be able to finish a bracelet, but that's why I have one that is ready to have a clasp. And what I
Okay.
will do is to create the clasp ending, and I will use some size 11 seed beads, basically in the same color as the other 8s, and show you my preferred way of doing it. Okay, so that's the plan for tonight.
It's a good plan.
It's a good plan. Thank you. So what I've done, I'll just set these aside. I've pulled 2 colors out. Try
So
to
what
do.
color are your 11s, Pam?
My 11s
Are
will
the brown?
be.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, the brown. Yeah, what I'm using for when I finish this one, I'm using the same color as the as sort of what are the second, the color Bs, basically.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So I am using Fireline. I do like to use Fireline for this because there is no stretch. And typically I use 6 or 8 pound. I happen to have 6 pound or 8 pound within grabbing distance. Let me see if that's 14. 6 and 8 I find can be used pretty interchangeably. And I've got a needle, and because I'm using size 8 beads, you can do this with any size beads.
We need a stop bead on there?
No, you don't.
Okay.
No. So I'm going to pull myself a wingspan, which is my arms outstretched, tip to tip, a Fireline, and just give it a cut.
I'm going to go on mute because my dog is going to bark as soon as my husband comes back in.
Oh, no problem. My budgie is wanting to start singing, so you'll hear my budgie. So to start, I simply, because it's Fireline and some people, it can be a little difficult to thread a needle with it. I just
thank
simply
you for that.
flatten it. Yeah, I simply flatten it between my thumb and forefinger, which puts it into the same shape basically as your eye.
You would not believe how much time that has saved me flattening it out.
Yeah.
Even taking my pliers and pushing the edge.
That works
that flattens
too.
it and it goes in.
So I'm going to use 2 colors. My A is going to be the darker blue, and B is going to be the pink, which I see doesn't show up terribly well on the screen. Okay. So to get started, I'm just simply going to pick up 4 of my A beads, my 4 blues, and I'm going to bring it down to the end. Now I'm going to be using the tail thread to help stitch on the loops that will attach to the clasp. So I like to leave a good foot, 8 inches to a foot as a tail, and I'm going to go through all 4 of these beads again so that they create a circle, and I'm going to tie my threads together so it forms a circle, forms just like that, nice and tight. You can use a surgeon's knot or a double knot. There, just like that. And when I work, I am left-handed, so if you're thinking she's stitching backwards, you're right. I am stitching backwards compared to if you're right-handed. So I typically hold the beadwork by taking the tail end and wrapping it around a finger, and that helps anchor it in my hands. So what I have is that. I've got my 4 beads wrapped together. Let me zoom in a little bit. And I'm going to stitch through one of the beads. It does not matter which bead, whichever one is in your direction. Just so I'm stitching away from getting out of the knot. And here I'm just going to use my needle and get it so this sits more like a cross, like that. Now, I didn't ask you guys anything about your beading. Mimi, what kind of beading have you done, and what do you like to do? And
well, years and years ago, I took classes, and I'm recovering from a TIA, and I've decided to pick up beading again.
Okay.
So whatever I did seems to have been long gone.
Okay, that's fair
Because I've
enough.
been trying to do it at home, and I have books and I have various levels of success with it.
Mhm.
But as you can tell, I'm awkward as heck with everything.
No judgment. No judgment at all.
You. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome. This is not a competition. It's not a race. That's my thing. Maureen, have you done right angle weave before?
Yes,
You have.
I have.
Okay.
I've been doing a lot of, actually right now I've been making Christmas earrings and
hmm
stuff.
hmm
And a lot of that is the brick stitch. And there is
I would
some
love to learn that.
Okay.
and peyote as well.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I've been doing a fair bit, just going online.
Yep.
And following some of the tutorials on there.
Okay.
But the brick stitch I learned from you, I do believe.
I
You or
think so.
Jillian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And I love it.
Okay. Good. Yeah, no, I will be doing more classes. And Mimi, I'll get your email address from you, please, later on.
Yes,
I will be doing
please.
an email out to students, listing upcoming classes and that. So
Thank you.
yeah. So where we are now, we've got our color A and set up so that we have our right angle weave in place. And as you know, with right angle weave, it always adds, or it's joined to the previous unit. So we have part of our first unit done. But what we're going to do, I'm just going to move some of these beads over so I'm not crossing my hands in front of the camera. I'm going to pick up a color B bead. I'm going to pick up a pink, and you'll see that my thread is coming out and going in my case, a clockwise direction. You may be, as a right-handed person, you're probably holding it like this with your needle in your right hand, and you're going to be going in the opposite direction to me. So let me just get this back in my hand here. Okay, so I'm going to pick up my second color, and I'm going to stitch following the direction of my thread into the next bead, just like that. And I'm going to pull through, and that puts a bead in between. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit more, like that. And my goal is to put a bead in between each of these as we go around. So I'm going to pick up another of the color of the pink, and again, stitch into the next blue bead, just like that. And you can see where it's beginning to get that netted look. My tail thread, I'm just going to take it and let it hang out at the back. Again, pick up another of your second color, going into your first color bead, like that. And we've got the last one to put in. And we're going to put it through the blue bead, and that will put us where we want it to be. My thread is tangling on everything that's sitting on my table. There is our first unit all done. Okay, let me.
Okay.
Okay.
Going seriously wrong here.
There we go.
Oh, fiddle fuss.
Okay, so I'm just going to pull all this back and just redo it again, just so you get
Good.
a second way of doing it. Because I find if you don't get the setup right, then it sort of messes everything up.
All right.
Okay, so to recap where we've done so far, we had picked up 4 of our color A beads, went through them again, and then tied them into a circle with a double or a surgeon's knot, whichever one you want to do. And then we advance through 1 bead. Okay, and then we made sure using our needle, and this is why you want it nice and tight, is to get our beads to set up like that either an X or a cross, however that refers to you. And that's half of our unit done. The second half is coming in where we add our second color. So again, I'm going to pick up my second color and go into the next bead. Turn my work a little bit, pick up another of the second color. Just continue around putting one bead in each of those spots. And we're here at the last spot. I'm going to put it into the blue, but I need to do something so that my needle is in place to do the next unit. I'm going to step up through that first bead I added in the second color. And we see that happening when we do other beadwork such as tubular peyote, or you're doing a step up to get your needle in place. So that's what we're going to do here as well. We're going through the blue and the first pink one, or whatever color you're using. So what colors are you guys using? Mimi, what colors are you using tonight?
I am, eventually I will use it's a dark kind of iridescent purple.
Okay.
And then a light lavender.
Okay. That'll be pretty. Maureen, what are you using?
Blue and pink, actually.
Okay, good. Great minds. Yes.
With a kind of, it's called banana as my alternate, my third color.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty.
So that
I didn't have a lot of choice in the 8 beads.
No. I like to learn on size 8s. You could certainly do this with 11s, any size bead. And it would give you a much denser lace look with the smaller beads. A little harder to hold.
Oh yeah,
but,
for sure.
Yeah, but it would be just as pretty.
Yeah, so I'd like to do one glow in the dark. I got glow in the dark beads.
Ooh.
Those.
I run a Thursday
one.
afternoon beading group, and we were talking about glow in the dark stuff today.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. This one woman, she collects uranium glass.
Oh,
okay.
Which glows in the dark. She said, yeah, she picked up a cabinet for it. We all piped up, is it lead lined?
Yeah, no kidding, hey?
But apparently it doesn't, I mean, unless the glass, because it's all in the glass and they say it's stable. I'm not sure, but yeah, it does glow in the dark.
Yeah, so, she may be glowing in the dark. She's not careful.
Really. So that is our first unit done.
Okay.
We're going to go back to our color A beads. I'm going to go back to my blue. And I'm going to pick up another 4 beads. So I'm going to pick up 1, 2, 3, 4 beads. And I'm going to go into this same bead where my thread is coming out, but on the other side, because I wanted to form a loop around this second color. So I'm going to put that in. And there is the start of my second unit. Okay. Now, I want to advance my thread so that I can put a bead in this space right here. We don't need one here because we already have it. Right? First bead is in place. So I'm just going to stitch through that first A bead, my blue bead. And I'm trying not to move it around in my hand just so you guys can see how I'm doing it, which means part of this I will stitch backwards. Feel free to move it around in your hand so you're not stitching backwards. Okay, so my thread, needle and thread are in place. I can add a bead. I'm going to add a bead right here. Going into this next blue bead. Just put my hand on it so it doesn't fly out. There's that first one in place. I'm going to pick up another of my second color and go, I'm just continuing around like that. And you can see how it's actually already beginning to get lacy. Now, I've got one more. I'm going into the blue bead only. I'm not going into the pink. Just hold it. There is my second unit in place.
Okay.
Now, this is
I
where
think
it's a
something
little bit
seriously
different.
wrong.
Okay. Now, can you describe what you have, Mimi?
I'm behind everybody else. I just have this, the
Okay.
first
I'm
unit.
going to stop sharing mine and zoom in on you. So can
Okay,
you show
here
me
it
what you've
is.
got? Okay. Can you hold it up a little bit more? Okay. You're fine.
Okay,
Yeah, it looks like you've got the first unit already. You've got 4 of each beads together.
right, and I've got my tail thread and the working thread coming out of the same bead.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay,
That's fine. So what you're going to do now, let me go back to the other camera here. Oops, let me spotlight me. Remove spotlight. Okay, let me spotlight
thank
this.
you.
You're welcome. There we go. Okay, so let me take this back. Let me just,
I apologize to the rest of the class.
don't worry. As I say, this is new. This is not unusual.
You don't need to do that. We've all been in the same boat,
Yeah,
love.
don't apologize.
Thank you, thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
so as you can see, or maybe you can't, I'm just pulling the beads back, and it's really easy to fix mistakes. Okay, so I'm just going to rethread my needle. Whenever you're undoing something, please take your needle off and just pull the beads apart. Don't try to unstitch it, because if you unstitch and go under a thread, you're going to have a mess. Okay, so I'm going to try this left-handed, or right-handed rather. Don't laugh at me. Okay. So what you have, my tail thread is just in a slightly different place than yours. But my
Okay.
active thread, my working thread, is coming out this side of that pink bead. Okay, I'm going to pick up.
All right, that's there. I should have put through the pink bead twice as I was going around.
No, not necessarily.
Okay, because it's not coming out of a pink bead.
Okay, where is your working thread currently coming out of?
It is coming out of the color A.
Okay, so continue in the same direction your thread is going and go into that next color B.
Okay,
Yeah, and that way your thread is in the proper place.
okay,
Okay,
all right. So it's coming out of the pink, or my B.
yeah, it's coming out of my B bead.
Okay,
Yeah, so this was the last one that I had done, is here. So I've stitched into that blue bead and also through the pink. That was my step up.
so you step through the next.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just pull it back. Let me take off the needle. Thread my needle again. Okay, so I'm going to try and do this right-handed. Where's my tail thread? There's my tail thread. And as you can see, my tail thread and, my working thread are very close to each other. I'm just going to take my tail thread rather to the back so it's not interfering. Now, in this case, where's my previous one? Is there. Okay, so I'm stitching as a right-handed person. And I have picked up a pink bead. It's on my thread. And I'm going to stitch directly into the blue bead where I want that pink bead to be. Plus, here, let me do it one at a time. So I'm going into that blue bead. That's my last color A. And there is my bead in place. Okay, so now my thread is coming out of this bead. I need to do a step up. I need to get my needle and thread in place so I can start my next unit. So my step up is going through that first color B bead that we had put in that round.
All
And-
right, so that. All right, now I'm confused because my last step was through what you're showing there is a white bead.
Yeah, okay. So
And now
I'll
I
say
don't
dark
know
and light
what's
then.
blue.
Yeah. So my dark beads are my color A beads. My light
Right.
beads are my color Bs.
Right.
So I've added my last color B, which is here, and I
Okay.
stitched through the darker bead, my color A.
All right, that's
Okay, so that joined it and put everything in place. Now I
okay.
need to get my needle and thread in place so I can add my next unit. And I'm going to, where did it go here? Hold on, my needle fell out. Okay, so it went through there. I'm now going to stitch. So that's when I just added. This is coming out of my B, which is the A, which is the dark color. I'm now going to continue to stitch in the same direction my thread is going into that first color or light B color that I've added.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. There we go.
I'm
Okay. So what you have is that. And to be honest, it doesn't matter which bead you're coming out of, as long as you're coming out of your a color B bead.
okay.
Okay. So if you have to go around an extra time, that's okay. Or just advance to
right.
another bead. Okay.
Okay.
So we are ready to add another unit. Let me get this back in my fingers. There we go. So as you can see, my thread is coming out this side of this bead. I'm going to pick up another 4 of my darker A beads. And I'm going to stitch into this bead again on the opposite side where my thread is coming out.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Sorry, Pam, I must have missed a stitch there. When you get the last corner joined,
yep.
With the last bead on, you need to go to the next pink one?
No,
or...
your thread is coming out of a pink. Your thread's coming out of a color B bead.
Oh, because I got mine out of a color A bead.
Okay,
so...
just go one more bead into your B beads.
Okay,
Yeah.
And that's going to put it kind of in the middle?
No, you're creating another loop.
Okay. All right, got it.
Okay, so we got our threads coming out of a color B. We're picking up 4 of a color A and going into that same bead, but on the opposite side where my thread is coming out, which is going to create a loop around that bead.
Okay.
Okay.
Get that tail out of there.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah, I'm holding
okay.
that tail just so it doesn't fall out of my hands.
And also so I don't stitch it. That's what I'm trying to avoid. Do not stitch that in.
And you said 4 beads, right?
4 beads. Yep.
Get up here.
So now we've got our loops, our color A in place. We're now going to add our Bs. So our first one is in place. We're going to advance through the next color A, which happens to be the first one we put on. I'm going to pull that through. I'm going to pick up my B. There we go. And I'm going to stitch backwards. Feel free to move the beading in your hand so you're not stitching backwards. And I'm going to stitch into that next color A bead. So again, I'm putting a bead in between my first round of beads. And I'm just going to pull this through in place without getting tangled around my hand. There we go. First one in place. I'm going to pick up another color B bead. And I'm going to stitch into the next color A. Notice I'm not changing directions at all. Okay. Okay, there we go. Snug it up. I have 3 color A's in place, and one of those are the ones that were in the previous unit. And I've got one more to add here. So I'm going to pick up another color B bead, my light one, and stitch into the last color A, like this. There. Okay, and I'm going to pull that through.
This just curls like crazy.
So there is our second unit.
Oh, why do I have 3 units on?
Oh, you probably went ahead then. That's okay. So what we're going to do, now we need to, just like when we've done right angle weave, if we've done right angle weave, you travel through the beads to get where you need to go. I want to add a third unit coming out of this bead.
That's what I did wrong.
That's and it's you probably haven't done anything wrong. Now, if you look at this is a little bit looser than what this one is. So I want to tighten it up a little bit. To do that, I'm going to go through my color A beads without going through my B's. And I'm going to switch hands because I know I won't have the control in my non-dominant hand. So here we go. So it's just switched over. So I'm going to go through just my dark beads. So I'm coming out of this one, this here. I'm going to bypass the lighter one and pull it through. And that tightens that. That begins to tighten and pull those beads in together. I want to get up here. So I'm just going to go through this B, or the dark B, dark color A bead. Come on, get in there. I would be turning this around in my hands as well.
Okay.
There we go. And that has tightened up that unit, has pulled those darker colors in together. Now, I want to add another unit up here, which means I need to go through this bead, just like we did before, so that our thread is coming out of that. And we're back in the same place as we were when we went to add the previous unit. I'm going to have to move this up there. Keep getting out of frame there. There, that's better. So we're going to do a piece of beadwork that is 3 units wide. So 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units. So I've got 2 out of 3 in place. Let's get my needle and thread back again. I'm going to go ahead and start my next unit. So this is being recorded. If you find yourself getting too confused, set your beadwork aside and just watch, and then you can refer to this again. Okay, so I'm going to pick up another 4 of my dark color A beads. Okay, my thread's coming out this side. I'm going to go into that top bead, but on the other side. Just like that. We've seen this before. I want to put a bead in between each of these dark beads. One is already in place. So I'm just going to advance through the first A bead. My thread's coming out in between them. And I'm going to pick up my second color and go into the next dark A bead. Just like that. I'm going to put another color B bead there. Just like that. I'm just going through the next A bead that's already in place. There we go. One more to go into place right here. I've picked it up. And I'm going to go into that next and last bead, just like that. Oops, as I yank it out of my hand. My third unit is in place. Now, I want to create another row. My first row is 3 units. I want to create another row of beads, which would be these. Okay. So I want to get my thread over to here. Now, the same as any right angle weave, cubic right angle weave the same. I can create units off of any of these sticky outy beads. Off of any of my color B beads, I can create another unit. To get here, I'm just going to go through the color A beads only because I want to tighten this up. So there's one bead. I'm not going through that lighter bead, and my thread will just simply tighten that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm here. This is where I want to be. I'm just going to go through that sticky outy color B bead because that's where my next unit is going to start. So if we look at this one, we have just simply started. Now, if you are right-handed, you're going to be going in this direction, okay, and you would be following along that way. So not to confuse left and right, but there we go. And we're going to just continue the same way. So again, we're starting with our thread coming out of a color B. I'm going to pick up 4 of my color A's, my dark ones, and I'm going to stitch through this bead on the opposite side where my thread is coming out. If I stitch to the same side, it's going to look like it's like that's wait a minute, something's wrong here. This is not what I want. Okay, so if that's not what you want, let me see if I can do that without stitching under a thread. So that's why we have to make sure we're stitching on the opposite side where our thread is coming out like that. So when I pull it together, those beads are sitting around that bead. Okay. And again, we're ready now to put the lighter color B beads or whatever color you're using in between each of these. So I'm going to advance through whichever bead is next. And I'm going to pick up a bead and put it in between, just like that. Pick up another bead. I'm going to go in between these two, like that. And I'm just holding these in place with my other finger. Okay, we're almost there. You can see how this is setting up. I've got one more bead to put in here. So I pick it up, going into my color A bead only. That unit is done, and it's hanging out just on the end there. Now, to continue, I want to get down to here because I want to put in a bead or a unit. We've got that done. Okay, so we've got these 3 and this one. We're going to put another unit in this space here. Now, we do have some of our color B beads in place already. I'm tangled up my threads here. Come on, hang on. Don't do that. Come on, guys. It's amazing how they get together and twist around each other without even trying. Now, if you find it easier just to flip it over, go ahead and flip it over. It doesn't really matter. So my thread is coming out. It's going up currently, which is important. I need to go around the beads so that I'm coming out this bead at the bottom. So just like we've done before, I'm advancing only through my color A's. So I am stitching through from one color A to another. And that tightens that little space up right there. And that pulls in those darker A beads. I'm going into another color A bead. There we go. Here's my thread. It's not going through that B. It's just snugging it up there.
Okay.
See how that's beginning to tighten it? You're now getting more of that X happening. And into the last, through the next color A.
So the
Gets a
thread
little,
shows a little bit,
the
doesn't it?
thread will show a little bit. I'm
Okay.
here. I want to go through into here. That's where my step up is. Now, this is where it can get a little confusing. With right angle weave, you're always building off of your previous units. We have some beads, our color B beads already in place. So if I put on 4 of my color A's, it's not going to join properly. So in this space, we're just going to put 1 color A bead. A, pick up the correct color. Okay, and I'm going to go through this bead right here. Our
Okay.
unit is going to use this bead and this bead. So I'm picking up 1 color A and going through that 1 bead that's hanging out, just like that. So we've got 1 out of 4 in place. We are just now going to pick up 3 more of the same color and go back into here. What we've done, instead of putting all 4 in at once, we've simply broken it up into 1 and 3. Sometimes it may be 3 and 1, depending on the direction of our thread. Right angle weave, you're always switching from counterclockwise to clockwise, your thread. It's just the way it goes. Okay, so our color A units, our beads are in place. We have to add our color B's in between where they are currently not there yet. We have 2 in place already. So I'm going to advance through this color A, and through the next color A. I'm just getting to where I want to put that next color B. Just like that. I'm going to pick up my second color. I'm still going in the same direction, just in this case, it's going to be clockwise for me because I'm lefty. Putting a bead in there, picking up another color B, and taking it into the same. There's our unit. Our next unit is going to come down here. So I just need to travel again without adding beads through my color A's. So yes, I'm going what seems you're going around it, what feels like a second time. First time was to add the color B's. The second time is just to get where you need to go. So that's through the A. And I'm going to go through this B so that my needle and thread are in place. My last unit, again, I have 2 of the color B's in place, but my thread is coming out and I will be going in a counterclock direction. I'm not going to pick up a bead here like I did the first time because that would change the direction of my thread. Okay, I'm going to pick up 3 of my A's and they're going to sit down here. So I'm going from this A or this color B to this color B in a counterclockwise. It looks weird. It does look weird, but that's 3 out of the 4. Here's my 4th one. And I'm going through that top bead again. There's my last unit of color A's in place. It looks weird at this point because we haven't added our in-between colors. Okay, I want to put a color here. So to get there, I just need to go through this first bead. And I'm going to pick up my other color and just put it in place right here in between. And if it pulls apart, it's okay, snug it up. Now, why aren't, there we go. It just had to pop over there a little bit. Okay. We have space for another second bead. I haven't pulled this really tight. This will tighten up. So it's in there. There is my unit in place. Now, to start another unit, I need to get over here. So I'm just going to travel through my color A's only. So I've traveled through there, snug it up, and that will tighten up that sort of X. I'm bypassing this color and I'm going to stitch into the next A only. If you go into your B, it's not a huge problem. It'll look more like a circle of bees or circle of beads rather. Sorry, A's, the B's, and everything. I'm getting tangled up here. Okay, so I'm where I want to be. I'm just going to step up by going into that bead where I'm going to start my next unit. Okay, I'm going to start my first unit and it's going to branch off of here. There's nothing else around, so this means I can pick up 4 beads all at once. I don't have to break up that pattern. I'm picking up 4 beads, going into this bead again on the opposite side where my thread is. There's my loop of beads. I'm going to add my other colors in between, which means I simply am going to advance. I'm going to pick up a bead and go in between. Pick up a bead and go into the next one. There we go. My last one. Into the A bead only. There, that first unit is in place. I need to travel so I can come out of this bead, which means I'm just going to go around all these beads again through my A beads only. That will snug everything up. And yes, you will have to move your hands around and get the beadwork so you're not stitching backwards. I'm just trying to hold it in place so you can sort of see it a little bit more, a little clearer what direction I'm going into. The one thing I find on this is that if you over tighten it, which I do tend to do, it sort of puckers a little bit. So you have to find that sweet spot between it being too loose and too tight. Okay, I'm here. I'm going to step up, going through that color B bead again. Okay, first unit is in place. And we have 2 color B beads that we're working with. And this is where we're breaking up that set of 4. So 1 bead is coming in here because that's how you notice where my thread is. My thread is sort of coming in between these 2 beads. That tells me I'm picking up just 1 bead. Putting it in place just by advancing it through here. And I need to pick up 3 more of the dark beads. And it going into here. And there is my unit of my color A beads. And at this point, it looks, I don't know if I've done that right. Well, you have. You have. It just looks weird because we haven't added the other color yet. So all I'm going to do now is travel through my beads only and through my A beads only so I can put my other color in here. So I'm going to go through the B or through this A bead only. Snug it up. I'm going to skip this bead, my my color B, and I'm going into the next A. There, I'm ready to pick up another bead into the next one. So I'm following basically the direction of where I want to go and thinking ahead. That unit is done. Where do I need to go now? I want to put a unit that will join it here. So I need to get to this bead. Again, through my A beads only. Through this one. And at the same time, I'm going to step up. Notice that my thread is coming out on the other side, sort of on the outside. Not this little bit, but on the outside. And that's going to go back and forth all the time. So here I'm going to pick up, I'm dividing those 4 beads into 2 sets, one set being a 3. Of course, my thread is finding everything that's sticking out on my table. And I pick up the 4th one, and it's going to go into here. So if, another way of thinking about it, my lighter color B beads are my anchors, and they're helping me travel. Okay. So I've got some more of my color B beads, one here and one to go in here in between the 2. So I'm just going to advance without adding a bead where I need to go. I'm going to put a bead there, travel, and one more here. I already have beads in place. Okay. As I say, I can travel in any direction. What I want to do, though, is to continue this row. So I need to get over to this bead, which will be my next anchor bead. So through the A's only, and through the bottom one or the one over here. And I'm going to step up through that bead at the same time. And you'll notice my thread is just going to snuggle in and go from one dark bead to the next dark bead. And that helps set all those dark beads into its X, that X or cross format. Okay, and then you just continue to make it as long as you want. Now, shall we get started and let's do some together? Okay, so whereabouts are you in your beadwork, Mimi? I know you were watching there for a bit.
Oh, I watched a lot. I do better when I focus on one thing at a time.
Yep, that's okay. Maureen, how are you doing?
I am actually, I've got the first one done on the second row.
Okay.
And I got one full row done.
Okay.
And I'm on the second one. And I started to do the second one, but I've got a gap between the 2. Like it's not connected. So I've done something wrong here. So I'm going to pull it back to just
okay. So what could have happened was that you didn't connect it to the second color B bead that's sticking out. You might have missed that completely.
Yep, I did. So I'll just follow along now and
yeah. Okay. So I am ready to start another unit. Now, what would help you guys right now if I shut up and let you bead?
No.
Oh, okay. Just checking, guys. Just checking.
Just keep me calm.
That's okay. You're doing fine. You're doing
just
fine.
Keeping calm and beading on.
It's only beads.
That's right.
It's only beads.
It can all come apart and go back together.
Yep. If in doubt, just cut it. It's okay. We start over.
I've done that and I've broken beads too.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm ready to start a new row of 3 units. And I always think that the first one is the easiest one because it's so straightforward. You pick up 4 of your color A's. You don't have to worry about dividing it and, what's in the way.
Mhm.
So
That one I got done, no problem.
yeah, it's those 2 that go after it that can be a little confusing. So
Okay.
I'm just going to pick up my colors. Now, just from a design point of view, all of these color B beads, you could mix and match your colors.
Mhm.
Okay, so for example, on this one, what I've done, there's actually 4 colors. There's I started off with, where are we here? I'll do it from this side. I started off with pinks, then went to sort of this turquoisey, sort of a green, a
Mhm.
purple, a light blue, and then this other color, which was nondescript, but anyways. And then you can just keep repeating it, but you can introduce other colors through your color B beads. You could also, your color A's could be 4 different beads. It's just a lot of the possibilities of what you can do.
You can make a
Once
rainbow one.
you could easily make a rainbow one. Okay.
I didn't have to,
So I'm just going to go ahead and bead. You're going to see my hands moving. I won't talk as much because I don't want to confuse you guys if you're not at the same place I'm at. Please feel free to ask questions though. It's a little hard for me to see what you're doing, but
It'd be nice when you start a unit, like when you're going into the next unit.
okay.
So, or
Yep.
even like the first one I've got on now, the second
Okay,
one's
so
where I
I have
messed up.
finished, so I have finished that first unit and I literally have
Mhm.
got that last color B bead in place. So where I want to go now is to put my next unit in this space. And my thread is not up there, so I just need to travel my thread. And traveling means I just go through the beads and I'm going through the A beads only, my main color, which is naturally going to pull those beads together into that X shape. Okay, I'm coming around here, going through that last bead to get to where I want it to be. And I'm going to, at the same time, go through that top B bead. That's my step up into the next unit. Okay, now, so I'm ready to start my next unit. And my thread is coming out in this very small space. I called it an inside space because it's the closest to the beadwork. There is not space here to put 3 beads. There's space there to put 1 bead. So that's the bead we're going to do. We're going to pick up one of our A beads, our main color, and I'm going to stitch directly into that A bead or color B bead that is sticking out to the side. Because remember, we're sharing beads. Our units share beads.
Mhm.
And pull through. Okay. So
Yep.
out of the 4, I've got 1 in place. I'm going to pick up the other 3 and I'm going to anchor it again where through the bead we started with, the color B bead that where we started for this unit. And that creates that unit of color A beads, which is basically the same as here. We've just split up the 4. So now we need to travel through the beads so that we can put a bead in between these two, and a bead in between these two. And we're going to travel through the A beads only. So through my dark beads, my main color, bypassing this one, and through the next A bead. Now, the reason I'm doing that is that if I went through this bead as well, all I would be doing is creating a circle of beads. I would not be forming that X. So that's why I don't go through there. I'm going directly through the next main color bead. And yes, I would be normally turning my work like this. And that, as you can see in my snug it up, that pulls those two beads together. And that's what you want to happen. I'm going to pick up my second color, put it in between that and the next color bead. I've got one more bead to add, and it's going to go right in here, again, into the A's. Okay. So there's my unit. I need to travel again to get through to here. So I'm going to go through my A's again. And that snugs up that bottom corner into here. And I want to come out this color bead, the light color bead. Come on, get in there. Yeah, I know it's hard to see. I'm just trying to get the angle here. There we go. So I've gone through just the A, and I'm stepping up through the B where I want it to be. Okay. So I'll just pause there. Let me let you get where you need to be.
Okay, my next silly question is on the second to third unit when you're starting it.
Yep.
I've gone around so you can see where I am now.
I'm going to just stop my share, or let me change cameras here. And I'm going to highlight you, replace spotlight. Okay.
Now at this point, do I pick up 3 beads or 4 beads?
You're picking up 4 of your color A's.
Okay, have that part done.
Okay, and you're going to stitch into that color B bead where your thread is currently coming out of.
So that's what it does.
Yeah.
All right. I was trying
but
to
on
put
the
it through
opposite
another
side
A.
where your thread's coming out. Yeah.
Okay, so you make a loop.
Yep.
With your 4 beads. Okay.
Yep.
I was trying to put it through an A, and that was not working particularly well.
No.
It looked a little goofy. All right, now, well, I've still got it off, I think.
See, Pam and mine are like they're connecting to one another. It's kind of flopped down. It doesn't, the top pieces don't connect. I don't know if you understand.
So let me, Mimi, show me what you've got.
I've got this.
Okay, bring it up a little bit. I can't, can you bring it up just a little bit there? Okay,
no,
bring up the beadboard. There we go.
Not closer, up.
Up. Okay, so your thread is coming out of your lighter color B bead.
Right.
Right, now you've got do you have your other 4 beads on your needle ready to go in?
Yes.
Okay, so go into that same bead where your thread's coming out, but on the opposite side where your thread is coming out. And what you should have is a loop of beads that are sitting on the top there.
Yes.
Okay, now you need to just put in your next color in between your beads. So you have one bead in place, one of your color B beads in place.
Yes.
You're going to go through your first color A.
It looks so loose the way I'm holding it or something.
Yeah, it will feel loose. It will tighten up as you go. And pick up a color B. and stitch into the next color A. And you're going to do that all the way around. Okay, so Maureen, what have you got?
I guess I'm going to put my camera on, aren't I?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to
where
remove the
are we?
spotlight from
Right
there.
there.
Okay, so I'm going to focus on you here. Okay, go ahead.
See? Oops. Right here where it's floppy. Oh,
Okay.
hang on. I got my hands the wrong way here. I don't know. Can you see at all or
Okay,
no?
so bring it over to your other side. The other way.
There we
That
go.
way. There we go.
Yeah. See right
Okay.
here where it's separated? It's kind of
Okay. Yeah.
floppy.
Okay, so let me.
There, you can see where it separates those two. Why is it moving? There.
Okay, so what's happened is that you're using another color B bead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're going to incorporate the color B bead that's already in place.
Okay.
So you're going to pull it back what you've got.
Pull it all the way back to
Yeah,
where?
pull it back. Okay.
So take my thread off.
Yeah, take it off.
Oops. And then pull all of them out.
No, I want you just to pull. This is the sort of a middle unit in the next row.
Yes.
Okay, I want you to pull your A's out as well. I want you to start your unit from scratch.
Do I have them all? Yes, I got them all out. So I have this now.
Okay, so
Oops. Can't get it to hang right.
I know. So your thread is coming out sort of in between. I'm just looking to see. Okay, so where your thread, you should be coming out of color A bead. Okay, no,
so
yeah, you've got your first bead in place. You've got your first color A bead in place, right?
mhm.
Okay, you're going to pick up 3 more of color A's.
All right. I got to rethread here.
Yep.
I think this is why won't it lay down?
Our beads are not cooperating. I think it's the operator on my end. Of course, I can't thread when you're trying to, right?
Of course not.
So
Of course not.
3. So I got to pick up 3
color A's. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, and you.
Okay.
And you're going to connect that through into the color B.
The thread is coming out of?
No, the one where you started with.
That's where the thread is coming out. It's the one I started with. See?
Okay, so your thread. Okay, so you see your thread is coming out of an A, which is where you want it. The other one that's sort of there by your thumb, you're going to go into there. You already have
into here.
Fiddling fuss.
That one.
So
Yeah, so you're going to go in. Yeah, you're going into that A.
Okay, because I'm coming out of a B right now.
Yeah,
see,
that's right.
So and I got to go into the A.
Nab it. That's all we needed here.
Okay, so let me pull mine back so you can see. Here, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, let me just pull this back.
Oh, I see now.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just rethread here.
All the things to get here.
Okay, so let me just remove your spotlight. Let me switch cameras here so you can see me again. And spotlight me here. Okay. So this is where you're starting. You've got your first one here at the bottom. And is your thread coming out what I would call an inside? Where you've got a little bit here, you've got your A or your B color. And then you've got another B sort of sitting there with nothing in between it.
Yeah, I think I put in a blue in there.
Yep. So you're going to put your blue in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. We're going to pick up another 3 of the blue.
Okay.
And it's going to go into the A that started this unit.
Okay.
Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
when you put that in, that's what you're going to have.
Okay, I do have that.
You have that. So now what we want to do is work our threads around. So we put a new color, a second color here and in here.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is go into we're just traveling. We're going through our blue bead.
Okay.
Okay. And the next blue bead. We're skipping the pink. They've done their job.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So now your thread should be coming out at the top.
Yes, and there's 3 blues.
Yes,
together
you're going to
there.
put a pink in between each of those blues.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that will give you that.
1, 2.
Okay.
It's between light and dark here.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
and it's
And I'm
horrible
coming
lighting.
out of it dark. I'm coming out of it dark.
Oops.
My blue.
Get in there.
Now, what am I trying to do here?
Okay.
Okay?
Yep, I got them. Yep.
You've got them. So now we need to travel again because we want to come out of this top color B bead, same as we did
Okay.
before. So I'm traveling through only my blue
beads
beads, my
only.
A beads only.
Okay.
Okay, like that. And into the next B bead. And so my thread is here at the top, like that. And I'm going to go into this top color B bead. And I'm ready to start a new unit.
Okay.
So now my thread is coming on the outside. My thread is coming toward this large part.
Yes.
I'm going to pick up 3 of my color beads. I'm breaking up those 4 beads. And I'm going to join it to the sticky outy B bead that's coming on the side unit. So I have a color B here and a color B here.
Okay.
Okay. I've got 3 beads in between. I'm going to pick up my 4th bead and join it. So it goes in that space. There's my 4 beads in place.
Okay.
And that joins it.
Okay.
Okay. And now you're going to travel around and add your pink beads in between where they need to go.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let me switch back to Mimi here.
Mimi.
Yeah, Mimi, how are you doing?
I finally we're up here. I've stepped through.
Yes.
So
perfect.
My next step is what?
You're going to, okay, let me finish this unit because then I can show you.
Okay.
You're going to travel. You're going to start creating another row.
Okay.
Okay, so
is this one I should be at the top of the diamond, so to speak, or the cross?
You're going to actually work to the side one.
Oh, okay. So I should not have gone through.
Oh, that's okay. You can travel around them again. It's okay.
No, I went through one of my B beads and I should have gone around, right? Okay, I can fix that.
No, not to worry here. Let me remove your spotlight. Let me spotlight me again. Okay. So basically what you have is something like this. I want to get over to here. If as a righty person, you're holding it here and you want to get over to this bead.
Okay.
So what you're going to
One
do,
more.
yeah, you're just going to go through your A beads only,
Okay.
and you're going to travel to where you want to be. So I'm going from A to A, and once I've got into the right general area, I'm going to just step up through that B bead on the side.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm ready to start another unit.
Oh, come on, thing. Trying to get it to back out of the other bead. Okay.
Yeah. If you have to go around and through an extra couple of beads, that's okay.
I was just trying to back it out of the B
Oh,
bead,
okay.
and it's not really wanting to do that.
Of course not.
Yes, of course not. I can see the thread go in, but I don't want to because I've gone around. It's now kind of tangled together.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Okay. When the more sticky outy places you have, there's more places that your thread can wrap around.
I already had a knot.
Oh, that'll do it. Yeah.
So that slowed me down on the path around. Not that it was going to be fast anyway, but.
So I'm just going to turn my beadwork around. So I'm starting at the bottom here.
Okay. Through another
Okay.
A bead. Okay. Yeah, I see as I go around, it does tighten it up.
It does, and that's what you want. You want it to create that main color should look like X's, and then your second color is sort of joining those X's.
Okay, so now that I turn it on its side,
yeah,
I go through the one that sticks up.
You're going through one of the side pieces.
Yeah.
And you're going to start another unit. So you're going to pick up 4 of your color A's, your main color.
Okay.
And your thread is coming out one side. You're going to stitch into that same bead on the other side.
Okay.
And when I snug it up, you're going to see the 4 beads sort of there.
So it comes up, and then I go and like circle.
Yeah, so I'm
like
just
a point of attachment.
Like a point of attachment, exactly. So there's my main color already in place. I want to add my second color of beads, 1 bead between each of them. Now, 1 is already in place where my point of attachment is. It's already there. So I just need to advance through the color A. I'm just stitching through that first bead I added so that my thread is coming out between the beads, and I can pick up my second color and put it in between. Just like that. And I'm going to do that a total of 3 times.
Okay, so the first, let me pay attention. Okay, so in the direction of the thread?
Yes. So let me back this one out. And
so I'm going to go through one of my.
Yes, you're going to go through the first A bead that you added in your circle.
Okay.
Yep, and I can pick up a color B and go through the next A bead.
Okay.
And I'm going to do that 2 more times so that I have a total of all my beads. My B beads are between my A beads.
Okay.
Okay. How's you doing there, Maureen?
I had a twist, so I had to undo.
Okay. Twists are allowed.
Part of it. Yeah. So I undid it, and now I'm at my, I don't know what I'm at.
Nothing
Actually, I do.
Yeah. Do you have your written instructions in front of you?
No, I don't. I should have them.
Okay.
Yeah. I will print them off. Like I said, I'll just watch a tutorial again anyway.
Yeah.
And get it. So that's
Yeah.
usually what I do. I work what I can. And
Yeah.
then when I get frustrated, I leave it and just
Yeah.
follow along again later.
I'm
So,
going to share my screen. I'm just going to pull up. I have my instructions open, so here they are. Okay, so let me just make this larger. So here are my instructions.
Oh, excuse me.
So where you are, what you're doing is basically, as you know, adding. There's my third Pondo unit. Okay.
Yeah, that row's no problem. I got that done.
Yeah, and then it's when you get into the second row. So
It's
the
the
first,
second, yeah.
it's the second one. So your first one is, you know, it's straightforward. You're picking up 4 of your beads and putting the B beads in between them.
Correct.
Oh, I see a mistake though, because we a bead. We know that should be add a bead. Okay. Now, it's when you get into the second and third unit in that row that things get a little different.
That's
So,
where I'm stuck right
and
now.
that's where you're stuck. So here, where we've got our 4, we've got, we need to add 4 beads, but we can't stitch them all in one place because we have, that's what I missed. We have a B bead in the way. We have these 2 B beads right here. They're in the way. So we just need to add 1. So here's the one we're adding. We're stitching our threads coming out of the this bottom A bead. We're going to stitch into this next A bead with just one bead in the middle. And there is that bead in place.
So that goes on before I add the other 3 A beads.
Yes, because our thread is on the inside, this inside space. So we're adding.
What I've done is I've added my 3 A's already.
Yes.
And I'm looking like I've got a hanging now because I didn't put that A bead in that space between the 2 beads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. So that is where we're adding just the 1 bead. And then we add 3. So there's our 1 bead in place. We're coming out of that B. We've picked up 3. And this is that where we started from. That's that same B bead that started our unit, where we started that unit. And so when we pull through, it gives us this floppy look.
Yes.
And you're thinking, this doesn't look right. Well, it's not quite right yet. So what we're doing is just advancing through our A's, and we can add those B beads now in place. Okay.
All right. So now I see the error of my ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is not adding that bead in there on the between the second and third.
Yeah. Okay. And then again, we want to travel. So this is where we were. I want to travel to get to this top color B bead. Okay. So I'm just traveling through the A's to get there. Okay. Okay. And there I've traveled through it. I'm coming out that color B bead where I want to be to start my next unit. And my thread is coming out what I call the outside. You have this big gap, and that's going to fit your 3 beads, just like here. Okay. And then we have a total of 4, right? So we have to add this 1 bead in that little space, that inside space. So we're going to pick up that bead, and it's going to stitch right in there. Okay. And there's our 4 beads.
So I got to remember to put that one in between the second and third.
Yes. This is where a lot of people, even with right angle weave, get very confused. So I've tried to explain it here. How do I need to know if I need to add 1 bead or 3 beads? Well, it depends on the direction of your thread and if it's an inside space or an outside space.
Right.
Yeah.
Inside space you do?
Inside space, you'd add 1. If it's an outside space, you add 3.
Okay. So 1
and it's going to alternate.
Mhm.
Okay,
3
and then
more.
it's a matter of adding your color bees in place. And you just continue that. I won't say
Oh.
just, but you continue that to build the length.
Of what you need.
Yeah.
I'd like to do a bunch. These are so pretty.
They
My
are
sister
pretty.
would
And
love them.
once you get used to the how it goes together,
Mhm.
it does work up fairly quickly once you realize you're not gritting your teeth anymore.
Mhm.
And and it's like,
You're not making knots in your
you're not
thread.
making knots and
Mm.
stuff like that. So,
Pulling
that
my hair out.
is exactly. So
Actually, it's falling out on
eventually,
its own.
yeah, yeah. Actually, your hair is looking really good.
Actually, it's so thin right now.
Yeah.
It's not, oh God, it's just crazy thin compared to what I was. I used to take a ponytail holder and only be able to wrap it around my hair twice.
Wow.
And now it's wrapping 3 more times on
Wow.
top of that. It's pretty, like if I pull my hand through my hair,
Mm-hmm.
I've come out probably 20 hair in my hand.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, chemotherapy.
yeah.
But oh well, keeping me
Mm,
alive.
it is. It is. So, I mean, for my band here, I'm only doing 3 units. You can make this as wide as you want.
Hmm. I
Okay.
think 3
So
is nice. That one's
three
4,
is
is it?
nice. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5. Hey,
And it
wow.
all depends on your on whatever kind of a clasp you want and its length.
Hmm. I
What's
kind of
nice
like
is
that
that,
button.
yeah, the button is nice. So one end you've got squared off, it's the same as what I've started. But
Hmm.
then you can travel around and do fewer and fewer units and bring it up to a point.
Hmm.
Okay,
It's
and
pretty.
So
it's
what
a
should
nice
I
way of
send?
doing it. And then at the end, you create a loop of beads and reinforce it because it is a stress point. So go through that a few times, making sure you're not over tightening it so that you can still get it around your button.
Hmm.
So that is one way of finishing it.
It's
Um,
nice.
yeah, we're coming up to about 7:45 our time here. So I'm just going to switch gears a little bit.
Yeah, I think Mimi's stuck from the
Are you okay there,
looks.
Mimi?
I'm coming out the wrong bead, I think.
Okay, let me remove my spotlight and let me add you here. Okay. Okay, so if you can
Guys don't
hold it
want to
up a
be.
little bit more.
Oh, that's part of the problem. Bend it. Okay, so it's coming out
Okay,
the top of the,
of
no,
a
of the
side unit.
side with a direction up on
Yeah,
the first side unit.
right. So you're going to pick up 4 of your A beads
Okay.
and go into that same bead, but on the opposite side where your
Side.
thread's coming out.
Okie doke.
So
So it loops it again.
yeah, here, let me just cut back here to go back to me. Spotlight, here we go. So I'm just going to pull back here. Now, are you holding it so that the unit is at the top or the bottom? So hold mine the same way as you've got yours.
I've got it at the top.
Okay, like that, where it's hanging out like that?
It's doing this. But I think it should be on the side, right?
Well, no, here, you've got your thread coming out like that, right? Here, let me take this full back. Let me just rethread my needle. Okay, so this is where I think you are. You've got one row just like that.
Right.
So we're just going to pretend I've just got the 1 unit. Your thread's coming out a side piece here.
Yeah.
Now, is your side piece at the top or the bottom?
My side piece, when I finished maybe that's part of the problem. Let me pull it out and show you. Sure, she says, get this out of there.
Oh,
I
you don't
may
have,
have, I may have done something here.
okay. Let me take
Okay,
a
so
look at
here I
yours.
am with,
Okay,
oh
so,
Lord, look at all this strangling mess. So I started the second unit.
okay, so I'm going to
Uh,
ask you just to, because I can't see it. So bring your, yeah, you can bring your monitor down a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then there, that's good. And then hold up your beadwork a little bit. And over to your left. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, there you are. Now, which is your working thread?
This horrible long thing.
Okay.
This is my working thread.
Okay.
And I
Can you
went
hold it up
around
again for
to
me?
this side.
To your left? Oh, to your right then. There we go. Okay, and up. Ah,
Okay, I
okay.
should be
Now I
able
can
to.
see you. There we go. So
Okay.
you've done one unit.
I've done one unit. I went around and from A to A,
Yep. And you're
and
coming
then
out a B. Yep.
I'm
Okay.
coming
I
out
know
a bead,
exactly where you are.
but I'm coming out with the thread in this direction.
Yep. Okay. So you're coming out what I call an outside.
Yes.
You're going to pick up your A's now, right?
Okay.
No, I'm asking you.
Yes, I
Yes,
will
you're
I will
picking
do
up
that
A's.
part.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to just switch back to me. So go ahead and thread. I'm going to just catch up to you here. And I'm going to work my threads around so
For the I think I need to take the same class like 4 days in a row. Okay, so I have
okay. So
okay.
before you add anything, I want to make mine look like yours.
Okay.
So is your thread coming out your B toward the rest of your beadwork, like here? Or is it going away from
It's
your
going
beadwork?
away.
It's going away. So let me just see if I can switch directions here. Okay, so bear with me for just a moment. I'm just going to see if I can go. I'm just traveling through my beadwork. Let me see. I'll just see if I can. Oh, okay. I can do a U-turn right there. Okay.
For the love of heaven. Okay, get these.
Okay, so it's coming out like that. It's coming out with your thread going out on the outside to a big space, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you have this color bead, the light bead at the top, and you have one at the side.
Actually, okay, the side, my outside, it's coming out through, it's heading up out of the way for everybody else. And then the thread is angled up from
Okay.
the what should be the side of the cross.
Okay. So I'm just trying to understand how you're holding it. So, because I want to,
Okay, I'm trying to
okay.
figure it. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness,
So
I am awkward.
it's
Okay.
okay. It's awkward when it's on video. Okay.
Okay.
So I can see you. You have nice nails. You really do.
Thanks. I buy them. I can't grow them.
Okay. So your thread is coming out. Okay. I see where you are.
I'm trying to get
Okay.
the
So
tail out of the way.
yep. Okay. So let me remove your spotlight and let me spotlight me.
Okay.
Okay. So right now, does this mirror what you're doing of what it looks like?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got your full row here at the bottom. And is this mirror, this is the one you added? And is your
Yes.
thread coming out toward the top like that?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to create our next unit, and it's going to use this bead and this bead. Let me put this right-sided there. It's going to use this bead and this bead.
Okay.
Okay. So instead of 4, we need to break up that 4. So I'm going to pick up 3, and I'm going to go into this other B bead that's part of the other unit.
Okay.
Okay. And when I pull through, it looks like that. Now I'm going to pick up my 4th bead, my 4th A bead, and I need to put it in this space right here.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to go through that A B bead, which is exactly where we started from. It's what those other 3 are attached to. Okay. When I pull through, that's what I have.
Okay.
Okay.
So did I do something wrong that it wasn't 4 beads?
No, you didn't do anything wrong, because once we've done that first unit, we have to break up that 4 because we have beads that are in the way. So we're breaking it up. You would either add 3 at first or 1 at first. We're still going to add 4 beads. We just have to add them differently.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So once we've got to there, we've got our 4 A beads in place. Now we need to just work around and add our B beads in these other 2 places. And to get there, we're just going to travel through the beads only. And I'm going to travel through the first A bead, just like this.
okay.
Okay. I'm not adding a bead. Get the tail out of the way. And I'm going to add my second color bead right there. And I'm going to stitch into the next A bead that's in that unit.
Okay.
Okay, just like that. I'm going to add another bead, my second color, into through the next A bead, just like that.
Okay.
So there are my beads, that unit in place.
What am I doing here? Well, I think I'll continue to fuss with this, maybe because of timing, you want to get to the class part.
Yeah. So I'm just going to finish this row. So there is that middle unit in place. I want to get over to this space here for my 3rd unit, and it's going to go here at the end. So I'm just going to travel through the A beads only, and that's going to snug them up and create that nice cross shape.
Okay.
Okay, and come on, get over there. There we go. No, come on, guys, behave. There.
Okay.
Okay. Through this one and step up into that. Here, I'll just do it one at a time here. Now I'm going into this color B, and that's my point of attachment for
Okay.
the next unit. And notice that I have 2 points of attachment in place. And that's why we break up that 4 beads. So this is what I
Okay.
call on the inside. So I have a very small space. That's just going to hold one of my color A's. So it's there. I'm going to join it to the second point of attachment, which is the
Okay.
other B right there. Okay, so that's one in place. I'm going to now pick up the other 3. This is where we started. That's where I'm going to stitch now.
Ah,
Just like that. It looks wonky right now. Don't worry about it because we haven't added my second set of beads. So I want to travel so I can get over here and add a bead and over here and add a bead. So I'm just going to travel through my A beads only. I'm just using my thumb to get my threads out of the way.
uh-huh.
Again, from A bead to A bead. And see how this snugs it up?
Yes.
It snugs it up nice. There we go. So now we're at a place where we are going to add my second color. 1 bead into there. And my last one is going to go in between those. There. There's my 3rd unit done. And I want to get up here so I can add my next row. So to get there, I'm simply going to go through my A beads again. I feel like, it feels like you're doing more stitching than you need to, but this time we're just traveling. We're not adding beads. There, into my last A bead, and I'm going to step up through this color B.
Okay.
And I'm ready to add another unit. So the first unit, there's nothing there to stop me from adding 4 beads. I only have 1 point of attachment here. Once that unit is placed, I will have 2 points of attachment. The one that I'm coming out and the one that's beside it.
Okay.
So that's in itself can be confusing. Okay, but you're going to treat it just like you did down here.
Okay.
Okay. And depending how you hold it, I tend to hold it sideways. Not an issue if you hold it up. You're doing the same thing. It's just a different point of reference.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just going to take the spotlight off of Hugh here. Okay, remove spotlight. And I'm going to switch over here. So what you're going to do, you're going to make your beadwork long enough, and you're going to test it around your wrist so that when you add your clasp, where'd my clasp go? Here it is. So I'm going to use this kind of clasp. It's going to fit in just like that.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to create just little loops of beads off of the end of these 3 beads here, my points of attachment. And I'm just going to, each side is done the same way. And there's a couple ways there's one that I've outlined in the instructions, and that's going to give you where you are actually sewing the loops of beads onto, there we are, sewing it right onto the clasp. That's not my favorite way, but that's what the instructions are. Same thing. But I'm going to show you something just a little bit different. I've got some size 11 beads that are going to coordinate, and you can coordinate with any of the colors that are here. Let me just zoom down. So my thread is coming out one of the side color B beads, just like that. I'm going to pick up an odd number of beads. Depending on the size of loop you want, I'm going to pick up 5. And again, I want to make my loop around the bead. So I'm going to stitch into the same bead on the opposite side where my thread is coming out. And there is my loop. And this is a point of tension. So I'm going to go through these beads a couple of times. Don't try to go through them all at once because it is a circle and you just won't be able to do it all at once. There. So I've been through that twice. I'm just going to travel through these beads and get up to this next bead. So, and with right angle weave, it's easy to travel. I'm just literally going from one bead to the next. I'm not adding any, with a goal of getting out. There we go. I want to get here. So I'm just over here and I'm just going to travel in whatever direction I need to go to get there. So I'm into this unit now. Come on, get in there. I tend to be very tight, so it can be a little tight to get in there and into this next section. So I've come out that point. I'm going to create another loop of beads. Again, I'm just using 5 beads. I like to use an odd number. There's my other loop of beads. Go through it again. Here, just turn it over so I'm not stitching backwards. There's my loop of beads all done. You could go through it a third time if you wanted to. And I'm now traveling to get through to this next bead down here. Okay, so I'm just going to help these beads sit in a circle. And you can use your needle just to help them get into place. There, like that, and there, that helps. So there's two of my loops done. And again, I'm going to travel to get to here. So through my beads. So you've got all these little ready-made highways. There we go. And yeah, turn your beadwork over. Don't make it difficult on yourself. We're just traveling. Okay, flip it back over. And I'm almost there. Your construction is already in place. So it doesn't really matter which beads you go through. Okay, I'm in place for my third loop. Again, I'm going to pick up 5 beads, 4, 5. Go into that bead again on the opposite side where my thread's coming out. There's my loop. And I'm going to reinforce that again. And back into that. So there's my reinforcement. I'm just going to help this be round. There we go. That is done. So now all I need to do is bury and trim my thread. Come on. It gets a little tight here. I'm just going to turn around and see if I can go this way. There we go. So how I typically end something like this, I come out to an edge where I can see a little bit better. Now all I'm doing is traveling through the beadwork. Okay, where is this? There we go. I'm going to do what's called half hitch knots. So there is thread that's going between these beads right here. I'm just going to go up here. My thread is coming out in between this thread and this needle. I'm just going to pull through before that little loop disappears. I'm going to go through that loop again, and that's going to create a knot that's hidden. I'm going to do that another time. So again, I'm just going to go through the bead. And I'm going to do another half hitch knot. There is a thread that's running between these two beads. I'm just going to go on the other side of that bead. Help your thread if need be. There's my knot. It's going to happen. Okay. I've done 2 knots. It's not going to come undone. I'm just going to travel away from that knot in any direction I want. Because when I cut thread, I do not like to cut my thread where I tie my knots. I may not have bothered to tie my knots if that was the case. Okay, so one more. Come on, out of the way. Come on. You have to talk nice to the beads sometimes. There we go. So I've moved away from those knots. I'm just going to take this. You could use a thread burner. You can use anything. I'm going to go ahead and cut this. I find fire line cuts better if you pull it taut as you cut it, like that.
Okay.
Okay, that is done. So to join these, I'm going to use a couple of jump rings. Where did my jump rings go? And I don't see my gold jump rings. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm just going to substitute larger silver ones. You'll see it better anyways. You're going to use a smaller, these are 6mm jump rings. I would prefer a 4mm. However, you'll see this just a little bit better. So to open and close jump rings, let me just grab a couple pairs of pliers here. You hold the jump ring. The opening is at the top. Oops, bring it down. So the opening is at the top. There's your other pliers. One part towards you, one part away. Never undo the roundness. So you're opening it like a hook. I'm going to put it through there and through the loop. Now, typically I would suggest having this all the same color. There, just like that. Now I'm going to close by bringing my parts, the 2 ends together. Let me do that again. So there it is open. Let's turn my pliers so you see it just a little bit better. I'm bringing the 2 ends together, making sure there is no air, because air is an escape route, and both ends come together. And that joins like that.
Nice.
And you would do that all the way up. Now I am using a larger jump ring. If you find your beadwork is just a little bit too small, then use a bigger jump ring. That will add a little bit of space. If you find that the beadwork is just a fraction too big, use a smaller jump ring. That will reduce the space. And again, bringing it back. So there's the second one in place. Third one. Same thing. I'm going to open it, one part towards you, one part away. Joining the loop of the clasp to the loop of the beadwork. Again, joining them, closing it up, making sure there's no air. And there you are. As I say, typically you would use gold with gold findings and silver with silver and a bit smaller jump ring. Now, notice that I've kept my clasp closed. I would not do it like that and then do the other one on the other side. Because what could happen is once you've got it all joined, and you would join it the same way, you might find that you've joined one part upside down.
Oops.
So what I do when I do it, I make sure my jump rings, my clasp is closed. And that way it's not going to be one part upside down to the other. But I would do the exact same thing using the other thread. And this is why you leave enough of a tail thread that you don't have to add it.
Ah.
Okay, so I would put my needle onto here. Again, if you need to flatten, okay. My thread isn't, I'm just going to advance it so it comes through the bead. It's where I tied the knot. And again, I'm picking up that same number, the 5 beads, 4, 5, creating that loop. I'll reinforce it, travel, create another one, reinforce it, travel, create my third, tie off, and bury. And then I would simply join again. There we go. One to the other. Okay, and that's how you would finish it. If you wanted to do something with the like a button, all I've done is traveled through one of the color B beads. I've added I just put a color A there just to separate a little bit. Brought my thread around, put a couple beads on top just to hide the thread. And I'm basically sewing it and going around that loop several times because it is a point of stress. And on the other end, create a loop of beads off of the most end one. Make sure that it fits. Again, reinforce it. Reinforce, bury, and there you have. There. I've obviously got it twisted, but you got the idea. So that's the 2 ways that you can do it. And then with the instructions that are actually you can stitch it directly onto the clasp if you want to.
I like the other look much better.
I like the finish of this one better.
Now on that one, I think the instructions said like leave 10 inches. You'd want to leave more than that, right?
I like to leave a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, just to make sure that you've got enough. You could always add thread, but if you don't have to, why do it?
I agree.
Yeah.
I have enough trouble with the thread I've got.
So, and that's how you're going to finish it off. And as I say, there's lots of things you can do. It is very lacy. I am working on projects where you can add some stuff. So, what else can you do with it? Well, I'm exploring that myself. So, but, when you've got it creates a beautiful, supple fabric.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That it works really well. So, yeah, it's a really nice lacy effect. And it's only, here we've done them all the same. And you can see just what the color differences will do. So even something in straight black or black and silver, golden black, or even black and silver, or what silver and gold would be quite amazing. So these are all done in 8s. When you're brave, go ahead and try it in 11s. It'll be more dense. You'll have to do it wider and be aware of however you're going to end the, whatever you're going to use your clasp for, because you have to think about all that at the same time.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to stop the recording. My philosophy is once you're my student, you're always my student, and you can ask me anything at any time. And I will get an answer out to you. So the third person who's taking this class who I have not met yet, feel free to contact me. I'm going to put in the chat now my email. Okay. So you can contact me at Pamela Kearns. Pamela Kearns 2019 at gmail.com. So that's heading out there. And my website isn't always up to date, but my website is Peyote Dreams, www.peyotedreams.ca. And I have a YouTube channel, which is Peyote Dreams jewelry with the American spelling. No, Canadian spelling, Jewelry Dreams, Jewelry Designs. And that's YouTube.
Okay, would you spell that again for me?
Which one?
The last two.
Okay, so
Had to get
jewelry.
up and get a pen that worked.
Okay. So it's actually in your chat. So you can click on
Okay.
your chat
Oh, I see.
and
Yeah.
copy and paste it. And I will be updating. I do have an email that I do send out. Maureen, I have your email address. Mimi, if you could put in the chat your email address and I'll copy and paste that into mine.
Okay.
Or you can email me your email address if you're not comfortable publishing it.
Oh, that doesn't
Okay,
matter. I was trying
okay.
to figure out how to use chat.
Okay, so at the bottom, you should have a row where it says participants chat. So click on the word chat.
Well, I'm getting participants, but it doesn't say chat.
Oh,
It gives me invite or copy invite link.
oh,
Yes, that doesn't look quite right.
okay. Do you want to tell me here, let me grab a piece of paper
Sure.
here. Go ahead and tell me your email.
Do you have a more button?
Pardon?
Do you have
a more button?
M-O-R-E?
Yes, I do.
Hit more
Hit
and
the more
see
button. The chat comes down there.
Ah, that's it. Okay.
Oh, you found it? Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
I don't have that one, so.
All right, there we go. It is Mimi dot Himes.
Mimi dot, what's your last name?
Himes, Himes.
H-I-N, oh, Hines, okay. At
yahoo.com.
Okay. Yeah, we have Heinz. Well, we used to have Heinz ketchup. So when I think of Heinz, I think of like however it's spelled with a Z
Yes.
or Z,
Yes.
depending where
But
you
I think
are.
she said Heinz. Pamela, not Heinz.
Well,
Yeah,
I normally
to me it
get,
sounds the same.
Yeah, I get Heinz. I get with an N, Heinz. Yes.
But it's with an
somehow
M, right?
The short names are more problem than the long names.
Yes.
Yeah, I get called Rose a lot. And
Oh,
my name's Maureen.
Himes. H-I-M-E-S.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh. What are you doing there?
Okay, so by all means, give me a shout. I can set up a time, just the two of us. I do have Thursday afternoon beading sessions that you are welcome to join. We've got people in Alberta. We have people in a couple places in the States. Indy, I think she's wintering right now in Arizona. And different people in Ontario. So
I keep forgetting about that.
yeah.
Oh, there's Indy.
Yeah. Oh, Indy. Yes, he's decided to say, okay, you've been on the computer
he's so
enough.
cute.
Yes, he's he's trying to get my attention here. I'm sorry, your beak is sharp. What do you want? What do you want? Come here. No, come here. Come here. Come here.
So no, you're gonna put me back.
No, you're gonna put me in the cage, aren't you? Yes. Can you say
He's
hello?
not going.
Can you say hello? Hello. Can I say hello? Oh.
Hey,
Yes.
hello. Hello, Indy.
You're gonna say hello?
Where's that come from?
Oh, you're just gonna whistle. Okay. Can you whistle?
Of course, he's not going to until you get off.
He's not going to now. Yeah. What?
Like a child.
Yes, I'm not a performer. So. Okay. Well,
so cute.
Do you have any questions? Anything I can address now or?
I think I'm
Yep,
good.
yeah.
I'm just gonna rewatch the video.
Yeah, I'm going to the video. I'll send the link to Bill, and
Mhm.
I'm just going to turn off the recording now, actually.